And we're back. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show, and I'm here with my co-host George McClellan. Glad to have him back. Before George gets into his final thoughts, let me mention a couple more of our sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor of our show, that is Chief at FetcherNews.com or 706-889-9700. If you'd like to be a sponsor, we'd love to get you on board. If you have a pre-recorded commercial or just get your ad on Fetcher News website, or become a Player of the Week sponsor for our upcoming high school football season. The 1907 restaurant located off the square on River Street here in Ellijay, great place to stop and have lunch. North Georgia Diamond, located in the East Ellijay Walmart Shopping Center. Promotional code FetcherNews.com. That's North Georgia Diamond, promotional code FetcherNews.com, East Ellijay Walmart Shopping Center. Ellijay Fitness, 379 River Street, Ellijay, and Messrs. Orchard. Blue Ridge Ace Hardware, that's the Blue Ridge Ace Hardware and Amish Furniture. George, we have a lot of catching up to do. Now, you sent me a message last night, said I'm home, and I said, well, get back in here.
And here I
am. So I didn't ask you to go through and keep up with everything, but I know as sure as I'm sitting here, you have a final thought of the day.
I do, and it will not include the Democratic Convention. It will not include the opening ceremony of the Olympics in Rio. It's going to talk about something that is of primary importance to most Americans, and that's trust. And we see it, the lack of trust is causing everything to fall apart politically in America. Trust is the glue that binds. Lying is the solvent that erodes that trust and empowers a culture of dishonesty. People in groups, communities, and businesses all function well together when each member can be trusted to do the tasks they were assigned to do. Most of our daily encounters involve the little things we normally don't give a second thought about. When we trust that person's assigned to do the task, life is happy and uncomplicated. It is with little children that the task of teaching trust telling becomes a primary function of parents and family. Many issues will alter that mission. If a person harbors ill intent, has devious sexual proclivities, or is afflicted with social diseases such as kleptomania or drug use. These things we understand and can account for. That's why we have regulatory agencies like our city, county, and state police forces, deans and principals in our schools, and truant officers. Our parents taught us, often using strident measures, the folly of lying and the consequences of even thinking we could get away with fibbing on some issue that came to their attention. Our parents, mine certainly, recognized BS when they saw it and heard it, and corrective action was always immediately taken. Government has relieved us of those duties and those burdens, and it doesn't take a village. There are exceptions. When wartime Prime Minister of Great Britain, Winston Churchill, was told that the German Enigma cipher code had finally been broken and virtually all Nazi communication could be read, often even before the German High Command got them, he slammed down a veil of secrecy so tight that the Germans never suspected for one instant their vaunted unbreakable cipher codes had been actually breached. The result was the permitted continued bombing of ships at sea, cities in the Midlands, and with death and destruction raining down on English production by German Luftwaffe. This was clearly a lie of momentous proportions, but Churchill said the Enigma discovery was so important it had to be protected by a bodyguard of lies to safeguard the deceptions Britain was using against the Germans. It worked. It took time. It was accepted. What is Hillary Clinton's excuse? I didn't know. I'm just a silly woman who doesn't understand these things. My staff did it. I never passed classified information on my private server, not once. I gave everything to the State Department. It was a video. Her line is now so completely exposed to public scrutiny and ridicule that even jokes are now being made of it. Are they so egregious that they can't be ignored? Is America's security at the hands of the hapless government functionary so inconsequential as to be meaningless to our country's future? Can she be trusted for 1 second to be our commander-in-chief? Clearly, the depths of her lying far exceeds the level of loss of trust. Yet, there's the FBI and the DOJ enabling her to be the commander-in-chief, and the Democratic Party upholding her demands to be president because, quote, it's her turn. And isn't it time we had a woman president? And, quote, the Democrat Party, infected by the Clintons and the Obamas with the solvent of lying, has lost all moral authority to govern. But the disease spreads so quickly, even the GOP and the mainstream media, that trust has become a silly word no longer understandable to the daily business of government. The contagion of deceit has spread into our school curriculum, our food production, our manufacturing abilities, our religion, our economics, and even into our daily lives. Remember, freedom is the goal and the Constitution is the way. Now go get them and do something.
George, thank you very much. And it's glad to have you back again. I'm glad you
Glad I'm here.
Thank safe trip and enjoyed your trip.
Wonderful.
You know, yesterday I said this, you know, the establishment is attacking Trump. I mean, it's establishment.
And the media is helping them. The media has gone all out.
Now, I said, you know, Trump is having more trouble than a Jew trying to get in a country club in the 50s.
Okay.
Well, I mean, is it true? Well, now, what was it like in the 50s? I mean,
Well,
Trump, they're trying to keep Trump out of everything. The establishment, every single thing. Everybody's attacking Trump like he's got some mark on him. And here's the thing I like, is the growth thing scares them. Trump comes out and he says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll cut taxes, which will raise revenue, and we'll have 4% growth. Well, that has shocked them. They don't know what to do with that. We've had 8 years of 1%, 0.05% growth, and a president that has doubled the national debt.
Absolutely correct. And worse, there's one commentator mentioned that ending NAFTA was the greatest economic boon to America, maybe to America, but certainly not to the workers who lost jobs.
You know,
the whole thing has to be revisited.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain this in a minute. George, he said 4% growth, and it has messed the media up.
Yeah, they can't handle it.
No, 4% growth, and he would cut taxes.
Yeah.
Do you realize?
Well, he's proposed that 3-level tax plan. And
I call it the constitutional con. All right, the constitutional con. The Democrats now have become concerned with the Constitution. Their next in line is to be concerned with the debt. Today, they are running all over the place, yelling the media is helping Hillary, and they're all, including Hillary's staff and everybody, they're running all over the place talking about what Trump's tax plan would increase to the debt. That's what they're doing. They're out there, how much Trump's tax plan, because, see, they don't figure in the growth and the growth and some of the cuts, but that's all they're talking about is what it would do to the debt. But we have a president, Barack Obama, that handed the baton. Remember the next day, everybody was swooning over he handed the baton.
To Hillary.
Yeah, we went from 10 trillion in debt to 20 trillion, and he handed it over to a woman that will continue on, and said that Obama's recovery plan didn't go far enough.
Shocking.
And this is, now, I'm going to explain, folks. You said that you did not, this did not make sense, and I felt it through the camera. Trump's economic plan in a nutshell is what I support, okay? I believe, and I'm okay with trickle-down economics. I know, throw whatever you want at the screen. I am a trickle-down economics person. I believe if we have to make campers and we have to make boats and we have to make boat trailers, okay, to put the boats on, and if you're making pretty good money and then everybody gets little money and people go to work. Go to Springfield, Missouri, and head down from St. Louis to Springfield, Missouri, and you get in down there close to Springfield, Missouri, and I never seen more boat trailers in my entire life than that company that makes boat trailers down there. And I went down there, this is back in 2009. 2009, I'm driving to Springfield, Missouri. French's Mustard's on the left-hand side, and this is the biggest bass boat. I forget the name of the company. They make trailers for boats. George, they were stacked 8 and 9 high, all through this field as far as you could see. And I called a friend of mine in Missouri, and I said, what's going on with that? He said, nobody's buying boats. There's no boats to put on those trailers. I bet those men and women that were working in that boat trailer factory, maybe they was making $12, $13 an hour, would like for people to make enough money to buy a boat to put on their trailer.
That's exactly right.
So that's where I'm at. So Trump's economic plan would cut taxes to 3 rates. It would repatriate money that's sitting on the sideline. Corporate tax would go down, okay? They're going to tell you it's for the rich guys. So I'm going to tell you something. You never got a job from a poor guy, and you always want to deal with the guy that signs the front of the check or the person that signs the front of the check, not the back, okay? Never got a job from a poor guy. So this is what their attack is on him, and we could actually have 4% growth, and what will that mean? That'll mean we have to go back to work. Okay, that scares the daylights. Now, Hillary Clinton's tax plan, George, is she'll take from the rich, give to the rich, and it keeps the poor in their place. And
Keeps the poor poor. That's the
keeps
plan.
it in their place.
Well, that's
in their place.
That's the socialist plan.
Their place.
Yeah.
But some people don't understand it takes from the rich and gives to the rich.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, when she puts her tax plan in place, look at what's happened to Wall Street. If you think that she stood, if people think that she stood with Warren Buffett behind her and she's going to take all his money, they've lost their mind. The man that has made billions off Wall Street, if they think she's going to attack Wall Street, they've lost their mind. Look at where the money has been made.
Why is Buffett there?
Well,
What is he hoping to get out of this?
exactly. He actually...
You know, I still saw miles and miles and miles, one after another, of trains loaded with coal headed south.
If memory serves
on
me
his
right,
trains.
If memory serves me right, Buffett has been on Obama's economic advisory team for how many years now?
8.
Yeah, and we've ended up with a max of 1% growth is the high side. And what is this, the lowest, I'm going to say 1949. I heard something the other day, is it the lowest growth period, recovery period since, what, 1949 or something like that?
Well, yeah, in 49, Japan was still trying to recover economically. And America was starting to help them like we were helping Europe with the Marshall Plan. I remember getting junky toys made out of beer cans available in America, made in Japan. We were accepting foreign goods then just to help them stimulate their economy. But 49 didn't last long. That was a short period. It started in 1950. It started rolling again. The housing increased. People were the military was being run down again. But getting ready for the Korean War, that thing was starting as well. So from 1950 on, we were back in the chips.
Well, here's the thing, George. Trump, if he will stay on message, like he did yesterday, if he will stay on what he's done in the last week, and we don't get upset because the media is going to criticize him, we know where it's coming from. But the reality is he needs to stay with things that we know to be true, and we don't concern ourselves waiting for the media to validate. And that's important. You got to think of it like that.
The media
we
will
got to
never...
stay on what, let me say it one more time, what we know to be true, and not wait for the media to validate. And that's what happens sometimes. We wait for the media to validate. Don't wait for them to validate what we know to be true.
Well, they will lie anyway. So they'll
Right.
go do everything in the world to not validate the truths that Trump puts out
Trump stood in Detroit
It-
yesterday and he said it's a disaster.
there.
It's a disaster.
He's exactly right. And what we're watching now too is the centrifugal force of a spinning motion going out of control with the Republican Party. What do you got? 50 people there on your list that says they will not support Trump, and then
Yeah.
we've got this former CIA.
Collins can't stomach cruel Trump.
Collins being our
up
Collins?
in Maine, the
Oh,
senator
yes.
of Maine,
Yeah.
Susan Collins,
Susan
pins
Collins.
brutal indictment of Donald Trump.
Well, you know, those are words. They don't like what Trump is bringing. Trump is bringing a revolution, and I'm in for it. I'm in for it.
Yeah, but don't you love a headline? 50 Republican national security officials, okay,
Eviscerate, I love that word.
yeah,
Eviscerate.
Trump in an
That means
open
terror.
level. But I love the lead in. 50 GOP heavyweights.
I've never heard of some of them.
Heavyweights. They're heavyweights, George. they were so big a deal that Trump ran over all of them. A good portion of them come from the Bush family.
Yep.
And God, you know, you remember what's her name, Meg Whitman. I mean, that's a heavyweight out there in California. She's coming, Meg Whitman. The Monmouth poll, Clinton takes a double-digit lead. I want to talk about this tomorrow. What do you think about these polls that are out?
The polls are skewed to make Hillary. They don't even talk about her fallibles. They don't talk about her health. They don't talk about the possibility that she might have a stroke in her near future. That she has fallen down at least once a year and injured herself. They talk about none of that. They ignore everything. Those polls are skewed. I think we're going to have a blowout. I think your little map is pretty close to accurate.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think we have heavyweights saying that they're against Trump. All these people saying they're against Trump. We can't wait. He said yesterday, Detroit he said Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, a disaster. And I love the way he does it when he gets it. He says it's a pure disaster. And Obama and Hillary Clinton owe cities like Detroit an apology. Now here's what I told people this morning. Don't matter what Hillary Clinton comes to the screen and says, and no matter if Chuck Todd and Joe Scarborough and George Stephanopoulos, no matter what the Andrea Mitchell they do, there's no amount of help that can get the people not to realize our cities are a disaster. And I'm going to say 20 years ago, maybe we didn't realize. Maybe we were in North Georgia and we didn't realize that our cities are so deteriorated. Guess what? We know now. It's not just the inner cities. We know as a country that our cities are in decay. They're a disaster. They've collapsed. We know it's Democrat rule.
All of them, every one.
Right?
Of them. Yep.
We know that. And so no matter, when he stood up there yesterday and he said Detroit is a disaster, he's right. He's not knocking Detroit, you know.
Yeah.
You going to be here tomorrow?
Sure. I'm
Okay.
back. I'm back in the saddle.
Now we got to get back. Now it's time to get serious about the travel show. Okay?
Yeah, right.
All
Well,
right.
I just run out of time.
Well, I understand, but now we're going to get serious about the travel show because we're going to start that. George's going to be bringing a weekly 30-minute travel show. We look forward to that. We're working on that. And so many other new things here at FYN TV. If you want to be a part, FetcherNews.com. Find us on Twitter at FetcherNews, #GMFTO. Go to our Facebook page, follow us there. Be back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. if you'd like to sponsor the show. You know the drill, 706-889-9700. Get a commercial, get your ad on Fetcher News. You want to stay tuned for inspirational moments with our dear friend Oscar Poole, and right after that, the Scott Farrell Show. Don't miss that great, exciting show we have from 10 to 12 here on FYN TV, Scott Farrell Show. Guys, take us out of here, and we'll be back tomorrow.